E.N.D here, day 4 for the spoilers of Wilds of Eldraine. Leave me a comment, what do you think about the set? I believe that the enchanting tales will surely add some value. Anyway, let's start. And as always, let's start with a couple of common cards. Armory Mice for 1 and 1 white, set through 1 with Celebration. Has +0/+2 as long as 2 or more non-land permanent enter the battlefield under your control this turn. Hopeless Nightmare for 1 black enchantment. Enters the battlefield, each opponent discard a card and you lose 2 life. When it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, scry 2. 2 and 1 black, sacrifice it. Into the Fake Core, 3 and 2 blue, sorcery, draw 3 cards, create a 1/1 blue fairy creature token with flying, and this creature can block only creatures with flying. Flick a Coin for 2 and 1 red instant, it deals 1 damage to any target, you create a treasure token, draw a card. Cut In for 3 and 1 red, sorcery, it deals 4 damage to target creature, create a young hero role token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. Brave the Wilds for 1 green, it's a sorcery, bargain, if the spell was bargained, target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste and it's still a land. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. If you don't know how to play bargain, I did a tutorial explaining this particular new mechanic, how it works. Eerie Interference for 2 and 1 white, it's an instant, prevent all damage that would be dealt by creatures to you and creatures you control this turn. Discerning Financier for 2 and 1 white, it's a 2/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you, create a treasure token. For 2 and 1 white, choose another player. That player gains control of target treasure you control and you draw a card. Chancellor of Tales for 3 and 1 blue, it's a 2/3 flying. Whenever you cast an adventure spell, you may copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Basically, it's a blue version of Lucky Clover. Spellcasting Torment for 3 and 1 blue, 2/4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a sorcerer role token attached to up to 1 other target creature you control. Fairy Fencing for X and 1 black, instant, target creature get -X/-X until end of turn, it gets an additional -3/-3 if you control a fairy as you cast the spell. Back 4 seconds, 2 and 1 black, sorcery, bargain, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. If the spell was bargained, you may put one of those cards with mana value 4 or less onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your hand. It's a nice way to put Sheoldred back in play. Taken by Nightmares, 2 and 2 black, instant, exile target creature, if you control an enchantment, scry 2. Core Vault and the Noble Thief for 3 and 1 red, enchantment saga. Chapter 1, Chapter 2, create a treasure token. Chapter 3, exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library. You may play those cards this turn. Use wisely those treasure token for the colored mana. Picnic Ruiner for 1 and 1 red, it's a 2/2 with adventure. Stolen Goodies for 3 and 1 green, sorcery. Distribute 3 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. When it attacks, while you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gains double strike until end of turn. Two-Headed Hunter 4 and 1 red, it's a 5/4 with adventure. Twice the range for 1 and 1 red, instant, target creature gains double strike until end of turn with menace. Night of the Sweet Revenge for 3 and 1 green, enchantment, enters the battlefield, create a food token. Foods you control have tap at 1 green mana, 5 and 2 green, sacrifice it. Creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of foods you control. Activate only as a sorcery. Agathos Champion 4 and 1 green, it's a 4/4 with bargain. Trample, enters the battlefield, if it was bargained, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Rare cards, Archon of the Wild Rose 4 and 2 white, it's a 4/4 with flying. Other creatures you control that are enchanted by auras you control have base power and toughness of 4/4 and have flying. Ideal for the enchantment roles. Spiteful Hexmage for 1 black, it's a 3/2. Enters the battlefield, create a curse role token attached to target creature you control. Godric Cloaked Revealer for 1 and 2 red, it's a 3/3 with haste. Celebration, as long as 2 or more non-land permanent enters the battlefield under control this turn, it is a dragon with base power and toughness of 4/4, flying, and for 1 red mana, dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Immodine the Pyrohammer 2 and 2 red, it's a 4/4. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control that targets only a single creature deals damage to that creature, Immodine deals that much damage to each opponent. Charming Scoundrel for 1 and 1 red, it's a 1/1 with haste. Enters the battlefield, choose 1, discard a card, then draw a card, create a treasure token, create a wicked role token attached to target creature you control. Rottiseer Elemental for 1 red, it's a 1/1 with Menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a skewer counter on it. Then you may sacrifice it. If you do, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of skewer counters on it. You may play those cards this turn. Raging Battle Mouse for 1 and 1 red, it's a 2/1. The second spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Celebration, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if 2 or more non-land permanent enters the battlefield under your control this turn, target creature you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Hilda's Crown of Winter for 3 generic mana, legendary artifact. 1. Tap target creature. This ability costs 1 less to cast during your turn. For 3, sacrifice it, draw a card for each tapped creature your opponents control. This artifact can become quite useful in a multiplayer commander game. Restless Spire, land, enters battlefield tapped. Tap to add 1 blue or 1 red mana. For 1 blue and 1 red until end of turn, it becomes a 2/1 blue and red elemental creature with, as long as it's your turn, this creature has first strike, it's still a land. Whenever it attacks, scry 1. Mythic cards, Asinine Antiques, 2 and 2 blue sorcery. You may cast it as though it had flesh if you pay 2 more to cast it. For each creature your opponents control, create a Cursed Role token attached to that creature. All your opponent's creatures will become a 1/1. So that was the last card in this particular day 4 of the spoilers of Wilds of Eldraine. Join me again during the weekend for more spoilers about this enchanted set. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.